Hello, I'm Gwen Bonilla, and I'm the president of Touching Stories. And today we're going to do a demonstration on how to use the story kit for The Six Blind Men and the Elephant. Now, The Six Blind Men and the Elephant is the second of the two folk tales in our collection. Some of you may be familiar with it. For others of you, this may be your first time hearing it. No matter what, it's a great addition to our collection because it's the story, as the title indicates, of six blind men who encounter an elephant. And each of them feels a piece of the elephant or listens to something about the elephant to help them understand what an elephant is like. It's a great tactile and auditory story that I think you're really going to enjoy telling. Now there are 6, 7, 8, if you count the elephant, characters in this story. The elephant doesn't speak. But there are 7 different characters who speak in this story. Now, if you've seen my training for The Little Red Hen, you'll know that I really stress the importance of having distinct voices for each character in that story. That was because those characters spoke repeatedly. And because their vocalization, the quality of their voice also indicated something about their character. And that's what drove the story forward. In this case, each of the characters only has one line. And it's not about revealing character so much as it is moving the story forward in terms of the plot. And so it really is not something that you have to worry about making every single character its own distinct individual voice. If you want to give it a try, I think that's fantastic, but don't feel pressure to. All right. The Six Blind Men and the Elephant. There were 6 blind men in India. They traveled together to visit the king. They loved the spicy smell of the village square. They loved the spicy smell of the village square. This is a chai spice. We put together essential oils of coriander, cumin, cinnamon, nutmeg, pepper, all the smells of the things that you would find typically in India. And we've called it our chai spice. Some people love it, some people really don't. As always, start about 6 inches away from the person's nose. Put a hand on the shoulder to control how close to the jar they get. Some people will pull back, they may not like it. Others may go in for more. Make sure that you're keeping control of the situation so that if somebody decides that they like that smell enough to taste it, you have some control over whether or not we're getting tongues and noses actually in the jar. In front of the king's palace stood an elephant. Now, none of the 6 blind men had ever encountered an elephant before, and each went to a different part of the elephant to know what an elephant is like. The first man stood next to the elephant's trunk. "Ah," he said, "an elephant is like a hose." Now, another man stood by the elephant's tail. He said, "You're joking. Why, an elephant is clearly like a rope." Now, I had one student who actually turned the board around like this so that people could feel the rope without having the board behind it. Either way works. It's whichever is your preference. You can do it like this, in front of the board, or hanging down like an elephant's tail. The elephant lifted its heavy leg and stamped on the ground. "An elephant is like thunder," said the third man. "An elephant is like thunder." Now this is one of those sound effects that's a love it or hate it. Always, before you start telling a story, if you don't know your audience very well, find out who's very sensitive to noise. If someone is very sensitive to loud sounds, try and position them on one end of the group or another. That way, as you approach them, you can touch a little bit more softly and encourage them to do the same. Encourage each participant to hit the drum to make the elephant's foot stomp, that wonderful thunder sound, but they can do it at the volume that they like. The fourth man touched the elephant's big body, and he said, "No, an elephant is like a wall. An elephant is like a wall." I encourage people to kind of thump on this one. We do a lot of tactile where we use our fingertips and where we just kind of touch. But this, smacking against the wall, is very satisfying. The fifth man felt the elephant's huge ear waving in the wind, and he said, "You're all wrong. An elephant is like a fan. An elephant is like a fan." Whenever we make that wind effect, we always want to start off by waving a breeze on someone's hand. Some people really don't like that wind in their face effect. If someone smiles when you're doing this, then you can slowly bring it up to their face. But if they pull away when they feel that, that's it, they're done. Just then, the elephant lifted his trunk and made a terrible, terrific noise. I don't know how well you can hear this on video, but this is a sound effect of an elephant trumpeting. It's not particularly loud. When we can't control the volume, like with these push buttons, then we err on the side of less loud so that we don't disturb those people who have some sound sensitivities. But have each participant push the button to make that elephant sound. The king came out of the palace and he listened to their argument. "Well, you are all right," he said. "An elephant is like a rope and a hose and a fan and a wall and thunder and a trumpet. But it's when we put all those pieces together, that's when we understand what an elephant is truly like." And this, if you can't see it very well on my video, is a figurine of an elephant. And encourage your participants to feel all the pieces that we talked about in the story, the trunk and the tail and the big wide body, and have them stomp that foot on their hand or on their table. And that is the story of the 6 blind men and the elephant. Please feel free to watch this video as often as you want to. Practice with your kit in front of the video if you'd like. And if you have questions or concerns, please feel free to contact me, Gwen at touchingstories.org. Thank you.